Aaron, holy cow! So it's been a couple weeks, almost a month since Date with Destiny. Update us. Where are you at? How was the experience? Just take us through your journey.
Okay, yeah. So, like I said, yeah, it's been about a few weeks since Date with Destiny. It was everything I needed it to be. That event was amazing. I had an idea of what to expect going into it. There was a few areas I wanted to change and to improve upon. Relationships was kind of one of them. And just getting a little more out of life. Living it on a higher level. Uh, as I went through that event, I had those needs met at the event, and so much more even beyond that I couldn't have anticipated, or to the degree of those changes that I felt, and truly understanding some of the reasons that are driving me to be the way I was and to act the way and do those things. And so, for the first couple of days of the event, I was kind of wondering how much what I got myself into. It was long days. We were gone until God, what, 3 in the morning on some cases. That was coming after me. I didn't take any time off, or perhaps it was completely go to work, and then I come into this, and we're up till 3. And so, by the end of the second day, I'm kind of dozing in and out when Tony's talking, and I'm feeling horrible because I love Tony and I up to him, but I'm like, what did I get myself into? And then day 3 came, and I'm just woo, pumping and rocking out, and I don't care, I don't need sleep. It was time to go that night. And I was like, I don't know, I probably slept an hour. I woke up ready to go again, on fire. You were on fire the whole time, but you got a tremendous energy. I think you carried over from UPW, but I was just completely on fire the rest of the week, and you had seen that and just completely came to life. And I think at that point, I was stepping up in my group too, and just being a force of energy for everybody around me, and just trying to transfer that and help everybody even get more out of the event and the experience. And I just had such an incredible time with it. When I got back, we had talked earlier about, he asked what was I doing to prep, and I was like, yeah, not really a whole lot. I might, do a little bit of training or something. And, I work a lot, and that's kind of been the theme of my life to this point, is just career. And it served me really well. I'm in a happy place in regards to that. But as you know, there's so much more to life than just than a great career. And that was a big driving force for me to go to Date with Destiny. Was I had this need and a desire in my heart that there's more to this life that I'm not living. And I turned 30 here in just a few weeks, and I in my head I'm like, I've got to this great place in my career, and I just hit a big milestone with it, and becoming and finishing my school. And now it's kind of like this, now what? I've got this career, and I've still got places to go, and I want to get to an even higher level yet. And I always will have that passion, but there's so much in my life I'm not living. And so I just needed to, I guess, permission to live that, and to understand, to structure that, I guess, in the way I can, and to really have joy and passion in life. And so that was a huge reason for me to go to Date with Destiny. Just start trying to get the most out of my life that I can. And I have, I think of a lot of us that were there, we have these big aspirations and dreams to live a truly, incredible life. That's what I wanted out of the event. So, relationships was a big one, just intimate relationships with me. I have a huge desire, just in that in my own life. And I hadn't really seen that yet, or a truly, loving relationship that I'd want. And I set a really high standard, and I've been so focused on school in the past. I don't think I ever really gave that an opportunity. And so now I'm going to be a lot more active in pursuit of that. But also I'd been very, I guess, goal oriented in that respect, where it's like, okay, see potential mate, and do they check this? Okay, they do, all systems go, launch. And then it's like, well, no shit, that's going to fail, So just taking more time, I guess, to develop friendships. I'm just so goal focused and oriented. So kind of relaxing up a little bit on that, and just experiencing, providing more joy in life, and just living in a beautiful state, So Yeah, you know,
That's,
do you have anything to add? I mean, I'll keep going on here, but do you
uh,
have any?
no, I love everything you've said so far. One thing I want to add to is you said you were sharing your energy with the rest of the group. And I think for anybody going, the importance of playing hard, people all like, everybody says, play hard, play hard, play hard. But I don't know if people really understand why they must play hard. Like, it makes such a big difference when
Oh,
you're
it does.
pushing yourself. Would you like to talk to that?
Yeah, I would. And so for me, the first couple days, you know, like I said, I was kind of dozing off. I wasn't really playing all out. I was tired for one. I wasn't really into it. I mean, I don't want to say I wasn't into it. I was all about, and I love Tony, and I followed him for a while. But I was disappointed in myself because I'm like, I came here, I invested in this, and I just don't feel like I was stepping up to the point that I needed to. And I think maybe it just clicked in me at one point, like I need to step up, and I wasn't putting in the energy, you know, really those first couple of days. I don't know if I didn't have it. Well, maybe I was telling myself I didn't have it because I certainly did have it. Because at that point in time, I had so much more food and sleep and all this in me than I did at the end. And I was wired like some freaking hot wired firecracker at the end, and I had no sleep and no food. And I was like, just go, 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 go. And so if anything, I had a complete depletion of resources at the end, and I was just completely living out of my mind versus at the front end of it. I was well rested up and full of nutrients, and I was snoozing in my chair at some points. And, you know, so, you know, Tony says a lot, you know, emotion comes from motion. And so, you know, with your physiology and just getting an active and a physical state to really get your, you know, your emotions and priming yourself, you know, with that, when your body's moving, you know, you're going to be in a more emotional state. You're going to be receptive to the message. It's going to, you know, more imprint on your mind. I take that. I think that's a great way to learn. When you're in that immersion, you need to be, you know, have your energy up at a high level. We had people on our team that weren't playing at that level. My partner was one of them. There was a day he didn't even show up. You know, he said he was sick, and I feel bad for people that come to the event and don't play all out. And there was, you know, I mean, you know as well, like we would meet people that just weren't there, and it's like, how do you know, you're at this event, and I guess some people were there against their wills, or, you know, just kind of offer tickets and not into it completely. But if you're there 100%, you know, you got to play all out. And I take what I learned there now, just with motion and emotion. And we've got, you know, the Tony Robbins soundtracks from the event, and then like him and Stage's personal soundtrack. So I've got these songs that we are jamming to, and I'll wake up in the morning, and I'm doing this like in my car. You know, anytime I'm working on other stuff, like I'm jamming out to the songs and getting my physiology. I'm jumping out here in my living room like a crazy person. God help anybody walk past the window and they're like, "What is this kid smoking?" They're gonna call and think I'm on drugs. You know, but seriously.
Yeah.
And we would get home. We'd get home at 3 a.m. from, you know, we were at the Airbnb with all of us, and we'd get back at 3 a.m. We'd come back like a bunch of little drunk college kids. It seemed like, you know, we were joking. We'd get back and we're just so pumped up on life and just screaming and hollering and having a grand old time. And at 3 a.m. and we're like, God, the neighbors are going to be like, these drunk a-holes are coming in for like the 6th time this week. Like, what is wrong with these people?
That is so true. Oh my God. It was so much fun though.
It was. I mean, I missed it, and you know, it was great, you know, and I'm going to continue. I want to do the leadership training, you know, this next year. And at the time, you know, there's some people that continue to go with to the event, the Date with Destiny. And I think when I was first there, I was like, you know, I didn't really understand. I was like, well, you know, it's an expensive event. You go there one time, I feel like you get what you get out of it, and then you're set. But, you know, I kind of right now, after being at the event, I wouldn't mind going every year, because I can, you know, I think it's going to mean something different no matter where you're at in your life. There was that husband and wife, you know, that were there, and they make it looks like an annual thing where, you know, they're on their 5th or 6th time of doing it. And the passion and the love that they share, and it was so evident and clear, like, you know, to if you can apply these principles that we learn here and consistently live your life in a way, that's in respect to them, you're going to be living the most beautiful life. And I think it's important to continue to revisit that and immerse yourself in it. We grow every year. What I got out of it this year is going to be something different than that I'll get out of it next year. A lot of the same stuff might be the same, but it's going to speak to me in a different way. And I can tell you there is so much more value than the amount I paid on that ticket. And, I can easily see me doing this next year, the year after. I'll be in a relationship, and take, her at some point. And, there was a lot. So,
I could not agree more with that. It's if you have you ever watched a movie more than once and you saw different things that you didn't remember seeing the past times you've watched it?
Yes.
I think that is so true of an event. You could go to the exact same speaker, the exact same event, who is saying the exact same thing, but the place you are in is different than the last time. And right. So I think that is such a great point that, it seems like and you could go once and the training is phenomenal.
Sure.
You'd never need to go again. But trust me, after being there for a week, you'll want to.
Loud and clear. 100%. So yeah. And there's a lot of, you're not going to hear if something's not necessarily applying to, me at a certain point, I'm not hearing all of Tony's messages that he's talking about these people in the relationships. I'm like, what the heck's a relationship? So I'm kind of snoozing off at that part. And, so I was making notes, but you're going to hear something at a completely different time. So one of the biggest takeaways for me at the event were the tours values and the away values. So the biggest problem in my life prior to this event was that I placed business as my number one towards value, and my number one away value would have been like rejection or fear of rejection. And my primary question, I guess we'll talk about that in a bit, but I was always asking myself, what are others thinking of me? And that was just always looping back here. And so I was walking through my world of what are people thinking of me right now? How do I, give a more positive impression or this or that? And that's just like creating a whole bunch of anxiety up here, and that's not serving me well at all. And then it's just completely trashing the picture, and it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. Versus, my primary questions now is how can I be even more present and share even more love in this moment right now? And if I'm being more present, because before I'm asking myself this question of how am I being, what are people thinking of me right now? Now I'm asking how can I be more present? And even when I'm, not asking people what they're thinking of me, I'm wondering like, okay, how do I need to be responding to this? Or I've got some business thing I'm thinking about. Like I am a very not present person, or I had been. And I'm working diligently hard to fix that and just be more present in any moment. And, I think, I got really good when I was talking to people, just being like, physically there and just kind of faking it. And that's, it's just all serving a really bad loop. And so breaking free of that, but, going through now, with my new primary question of how can I be even more present and share even more love in this moment right now? So I just ask myself that over and over and over again, how can I be even more present and share even more love in this moment right now? And so when I'm asking that and I'm going through each conversation and, encounter with anybody like that, I don't, to hell what they think of me, I don't really care. But if I'm coming through and I'm coming there from a place of love and connection and trying to make a true, emotional connection with that person, like, they're going to have a good experience with me. And if they don't, that's on them. I'm a great person and that's that. But, so that I like the primary question. And there were some things, I had discovered, I thought we went through some exercises in the past or things that might have keyed that question up and kind of working through that. And okay, this, probably led me to start asking that question or, seeing where that had come from. And so breaking free of that, understanding that there, even those, the meaning I gave those incidents before was something completely obscure that I just created in my head. And so just knowing that that was a bunch of crap and but it sucks that then I've got, 10 or 15 years I've been asking myself this question that came from some crap that I assigned to it way, way long ago. And, it's nice kind of understanding and seeing all that, and then just having permission to break free of that and create a new question, understanding the power of that. And I mean, that's the one. I mean, everyone's got one, it's that question you're asking yourself all the time. And if you got a crap question, and most of us probably do, I don't anymore, but if you're asking yourself that question, you're going to be getting that answer all the time. And it's not a good thing if you're asking yourself a shitty question.
Yeah, it is so funny how the question you ask will give you an answer, no matter what. If the question is, what are they thinking about me? You will create an answer, whether it's the right one or not. So I think that's huge. Yeah, I'm with you. I love the towards and away values.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. So I talked about, I guess, more the primary question. I wanted to talk about the towards and aways. So my towards had always been business, right? And so I have gotten to a great place. I guess where I'm at right now, I'm very happy with where I'm at. As you know, I want to go much, much further, but I'm in a place that a lot of people would be very content living their whole life at. I'll probably never be satisfied ever where I'm at. I'll always be reaching for more or growing more, but I can live a pretty nice life right where I'm at just fine. And so I'm at the point that, as I talked earlier, like I need to find more fulfillment in life beyond just business. Like we're going, and I'm going to keep going with business, but I need more joy. And so, and then my number one away value, was at that time, away values are, things you're trying to move away from. And that was, for me, I think rejection at the time. I'd always been not wanting to be rejected by somebody. And so I'm asking what are they thinking of me, and how do I not get rejected by them? And those were the questions that were just always on loop. And then my towards, I'm just consistently focused about business. So now, let's see, my towards values, I don't even know where they are. Perfection was like my number one away value. And so in business, I had always been trying to set the bar so high. And I have really good, I want the best for myself, but when I make that such a high standard, I start probably knowing that I'm not going to achieve. I can never achieve. I set the bar so high, like nobody could achieve what my goals are. Like, and I want to be the best in this and this and this, and it's like you can't do that. And so I just don't try to do it. And I think that's got a basis in fear of failure, and just breaking through under that, and just knowing, you had told me something there. I think you said perfection, done is the new perfect. Mm-hmm. And that's so true. It is, and a lot of times just doing and having something out there, like my good effort for me, not even my best effort, is still damn good. And it's going to move. It's going to move mountains, and consistently over time, it gets shit done. And so now, and I loved my perfection, and that was almost an identity for me before, and that I do great work. And even in my dentistry, like I do great work, and I love that, and I'm proud of that. But you let that start to be crippling, and it's not good. So perfection now, like I've kind of made that, used to be my identity. Now it's like my anti-identity, where it's like, no, I'm not perfect. I mean, I'm damn good. But no, perfect shit, and the perfect, that standard is so high, it's not even a standard, it's really no standard, because you can't achieve it. And so you're just lying to yourself.
I love that. Oh,
yeah. And then business used to be number one. Now it's number 14. Nice. So it's way down the list. Before, I'd get up every morning and I'd ask myself, I'd have my to-do list for business, or this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this. That list never ends, like ever. I get those done, there's a new list. And if you always make that number one, which I was, there was no time for any joy, no time to, connect, no time to love, passion, be authentic, any of that. And so now I've got all those things, there's 13 things in front of business. And, I think there might be a couple things after business, but it's like at the bottom of my towards values. And it's not going to take a lot of time, and it's not like I have to, go through this list and accomplish each one of these off in a given order. But just having permission, I guess, to be able to experience those emotions and know that I do need to experience these even ahead of business. Like I need to make time if this comes up for this, you know, and just let business happen as it happens. And, you know, don't try to, you know, miss out on having a life and the purpose of trying to make some money. So, I love that, you know, so I've got, you know, health and vitality is my number one, taking care of my body, which I never did. And that was horrible too, because I'm so focused on business. I come home at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I'm not taking time to take care of my body. And so now that's, you know, my second towards value. And so I wake up in the morning, I'm taking care, I'm running, I'm eating well, you know, and now I've got so much energy. I can be up till 11 versus I would come home from my job sometimes and I'd crash in bed, watch a little bit of Netflix at 6 p.m. because I was so exhausted and I needed a mental escape. And now I'm popping out of bed at 4 a.m. before 2 hours before my alarm goes off, just like jazzed and ready to go. And, you know, coming back 10 or 11 and, you know, working on projects, not because that's business and I have to do that, something I enjoy. And sometimes I don't. I bought a guitar yesterday or 2 days ago online, because I was like, I'm going to learn guitar lessons this year. And I would have never, or, you know, I would have never done that in a million years before. But I'm like, you know, fuck it. Buying a guitar, we're enjoying, because I need to make time for joy. Before it would have been like, you know, I've got shit to do. I need that money for business. So no, now I'm going to come home and start, you know, I'm going to take some guitar lessons and just enjoy it. Like, I've been wanting to do that for a long time, and just taking time to enjoy, you know, life. And
yeah, no, I totally hear you. So, last question, and I love this. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is, can't believe I spent the money, can't believe I went. 10 is, holy cow, best thing I've ever spent money on in my life. How would you rate Date with Destiny?
Best thing I ever spent money on in my life. Let's see here. Yeah, no, it's beyond 10, Justin. So it really is. You know, I don't know that I can set a number of value on that, but it's well past 10. I mean, this is, I spend a lot on investing back into myself. I think yourself is always going to be your best investment if you're somebody that takes action. And you know, I know you're working on stuff with that as well. And it's so true. You know, I think a lot of people can go to these events and not take action. That's not me by any means. And I'm letting, you know, if you take the action and implement, you know, this event is worth that money so many times over. You know, it's not even funny. So I signed up for Business Mastery as well, as we had discussed, and I'll be doing that. You know, I'm all in with Tony and his training. This event was amazing. I got so much out of it, and that's radiating in my life right now. People notice that, like, I'm just out interacting with people, like, and they're like, what happened to you? And they're like, what, you know, and I mean, I was living in a good state in my mind before, but you know, nothing like I am right now. And people can see that, and that radiates and really does flow to every other area in your life. And, you know, this is something that is obviously going to need continued sustained effort. Like, it's not just you go to this event, snap your fingers, oh, you know, everything's better. But when you understand your mind truly and the reasons, you know, your values and your rules for those, you understand your needs and what you're trying to meet there. It's truly just understanding your mind and what's driving it. And once you understand that well, you know, you've got the keys to the kingdom there. And so
I love how Tony puts it. You just need upgraded software. Your brain's a computer, and you've got some crappy software running.
Yeah. So just, upgrade that software and continue to do that, you know. And Tony's got a lot of other good training out there too. You know, I'd say even if somebody can't afford, I mean, that's a high ticket event. If you can't even afford to do that, you know, he's got all those training programs in his app, and I had done some of those prior to the event, and a lot of those had similar training, and I think some of those even went in a little deeper in certain areas. And so, you know, and I'm working through a lot of those other programs now as well. But, you know, you don't have to go to that event to get a lot of amazing value from Tony. And you can just pick up one of those apps that you know, could apply to your life, one of those programs, and the amount of value in that is ridiculous, you know, for what those are charged for.
Yeah.
It was.
No, totally agree. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited. I know we're going to connect later this week. Oh. But I just want to say thank you, and we will talk to you real soon.